Here's a workflow that allows you to create a folder in SharePoint for each item you create within Monday.com. So here's a board, and we're going to go over to our workflow here. And when an item is created, we're going to add an action. If we search for SharePoint, we can see create folder for item in SharePoint. So the first thing is we need to choose the board, which is this one. And then our credentials. At this point you could log in. We already have some credentials here. And we select the board name that's already there. We have an item. We can choose a SharePoint site, and we're going to search for one. We're going to use the one called Monday Develop. Document library. We're going with document library number 2. And now it's saying select a parent folder. So we can search for one here. I'm going to use one called boards. Now, optionally, we can add a folder structure within here. So if I didn't put anything in here, we would get a new folder within that folder called item name, whatever the item name is in the item ID. But we can do some different things here. So for example, we could say that we want the board name as a folder, and we could say we also want the group name as a folder within there, and we could say we want the item name. So that would generate those folders. We would have a board name, then the group name, then the item name. Now, if the folder already exists, we have some options. We can do nothing. We can link the item to the existing folder, or we can create a new folder. So initially, we're just going to go with create a new folder, and then we're going to update the workflow. So that done, we can go back to the folder, and we can say we're going to create an item. And when that generates, it kicks off a workflow. And it says the workflow is completed. And if we look in here, we have the embed here, and it automatically configures with Project Alpha here. And we can have a look and open that in the browser within SharePoint, and we can see that it's created within boards, it's created the board name, the group name, and then the item name here. Again, you can change this and configure it however you want. So what happens if you create a second item called Project Alpha? Well, let's have a look. So the workflow is running and it's completed. And if we have a look here, we can see that it's automatically incremented a number on the end. And if we were to do that again, we would have Project Alpha 2 there. And that's great. So we can see that if we were to go into SharePoint here, we could see that we actually have, we are generating folders here. But what if you want all your items with the same name to point to the same place? Well, we could go back to our workflow, and we could edit the workflow, and we can say, if the folder structure exists, link the item to the existing folder, and we save that. So now when we go back to the board and create another Project Alpha, what this is going to do is this is going to now point to the original one, and it'll point to the file over there. So if, for example, I was to upload something in here now, and then to look at the item that's linked here, we should be pointed at exactly the same place. So this first one and this third one are now pointing at exactly the same folder within SharePoint. So if we go back over to SharePoint to have a look, we can see that we've not created any more folders. We are now linking the new folder to the original item here. So this is quite a powerful way of connecting new things with existing folders within SharePoint.